Hi everyone, my name is Shrumi, and welcome to Shrumi's Artivism, as well as Happy Pride Month! If you're new to the channel, then hello! On this channel I combine art and activism, and I make all sorts of videos ranging from trying out art supplies and art challenges to discussing and illustrating social topics that are important to me, such as disability, environmentalism, protesting, general social justice, and more. And sometimes I also post vlogs and videos from protests that I've been to. If any of this sounds interesting, hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss new videos. To celebrate Pride Month, this video is on an LGBT+ subject, which is non-binary gender identity. Incidentally, I am non-binary myself, so I want to talk about what that is, as well as how you can be an ally to non-binary people. I try to make it the sort of video that you can send to your clueless, cishet friends and enemies about what this is and how to approach it. So first of all, what the heck is this non-binary thing? Well, non-binary generally falls under the transgender umbrella, which is people who are not the gender they were assigned at birth. For example, if someone is a trans man, that means that when they were born, doctors were like, it's a girl. But later in life, that person actually felt like a man, and they may decide to live as a man. Same with trans women. Trans women were assigned male at birth, but later on realized they were women. And with non-binary people, we were assigned whatever, and then realized that the two default binary gender options, male or female, didn't really fit us or didn't fully fit us, so we are therefore non-binary, also known as NB or NB. Do note that not all non-binary people identify as trans, I personally do, but not everyone does. There are many different non-binary identities. For example, agender means not having a gender. Genderfluid means what it says on the tin really, having different gender identities and preferences at different times, for example, switching pronouns and going by he, him one day and she, her another day. There's bigender, which means two genders, and that can be switching between them or just being both at the same time. And then there are also identities such as demi-boy or demi-girl, which basically mean somewhat male or female but not fully. There are many more, the list goes on. Personally, I am just non-binary. I don't feel a need for a more specific label. And the reason I am non-binary, well, I don't know, I just am. I feel comfortable and authentic when I am not forced to live as a man or as a woman, and when I'm not perceived as either of them. To me, being non-binary represents being whatever I want and doing whatever I want, and not forcing myself into boxes. I have genuinely tried to conform and to be binary, but it just doesn't work for me, it makes me feel miserable. So I ask myself, do I want to keep this up, or should I just come out and be myself? And I choose to be myself. Non-binary people face a lot of the same problems as other trans people. Just like trans men and women, we may or may not have gender dysphoria, which basically means feeling horrible about your body or how people perceive you. And we may choose to correct that with the most scientifically backed way to alleviate gender dysphoria, which is transitioning. Transitioning can involve any combination of social and medical elements. Social transition can include things like changing one's pronouns, changing one's name, and dressing differently. Medical transition can include cross-sex hormones, such as testosterone or estrogen, and various feminizing or masculizing surgeries. It is important to respect those decisions, even if you don't understand them. Also, a lot of those things are very personal, so please don't ask intrusive questions unless the person specifically gave you permission. In the case of children, stay calm, no one is giving them surgeries. Most of the time, experimenting with names, pronouns, and clothes is all they need to do. Sometimes, they can be giving medications that delay puberty, which gives them time to figure out what they want to do. But that is a big topic that I am hoping to return to in a future video. Non-binary people face some specific challenges that most people don't know about. Let's go through some of them and how you can help. Number one is, your identity is basically non-existent to a large proportion of people. Many people literally don't know what non-binary is and how to react to it. Everyone knows the concept of being a man or a woman. Some are aware that transgender is a thing, but many people have no clue or refuse to believe that non-binary people exist. I can't even begin to explain my identity to most family members because the very idea of not being a woman or a man is unknown to them. And every time, it feels like I have to pull out an entire PowerPoint presentation to explain my existence. By the way, if any family members are for some reason watching this, whoopsie, I guess you know now, please don't hate me. Number 2. There is no option in most countries to have it legally recognized. For trans men and women, it can be difficult. Depending on the country, you may have to jump through a lot of medical and legal hoops. For us NBs, it is simply not possible in the vast majority of places. There are a handful of countries that now offer an X gender marker, but that is very much an exception, and personally, I don't know if I want one. I would much rather have no gender marker on documents where that is irrelevant. And that brings me to the next point. There is no option to be stealth. Stealth basically means that if you're trans, you are living as your preferred gender, but you look like you were born that way, so people gender you correctly, and you don't have to announce the fact that you are trans. Now, if you want to be gendered as non-binary, for example, people not calling you a girl or a guy, or using neutral pronouns such as they, them, that is a different story. Because you can't pass as something that isn't one of the 2 default options. The vast majority of people will default to male or female. You're always different, and there's no hiding it without being misgendered. So you have to tell people. But as I've said, many people don't even know what that is, so it's a very vulnerable position, and as much as I love being me, sometimes I want to not stick out so much. I'm non-binary because I don't want to be gendered by others, but ironically, I can't escape that. And if you're living in a socially conservative country, then you're kind of screwed. Which is part of the reason I moved to the UK from Estonia. I can be myself here, but not there. Number 4 is people making fun of your identity as a trend, which includes other trans people who you'd think would understand. All trans people experience it, but it's worse for NBs. And it's not even true. Many traditional cultures in the world have some sort of third gender. Some Native American tribes have 2 spirit people. In Polynesia, there's the third gender known as Mahu. Bugis people from Indonesia recognize 5 genders, as well as the idea that gender is a spectrum. And that doesn't make it a good thing, but it does show that we've been here for a long time, and will probably exist for as long as the social construct of gender exists. And finally, for this video, there's probably a lot more that I'm missing. Transition services may not be accessible. For example, in Estonia, where I'm from, it's a tiny country, so there was exactly one doctor that you had to go to if you wanted to transition, and said doctor did not believe in non-binary people, so people like me have to lie to get healthcare. But if you want to transition in a non-standard way, for example having surgery but not hormones, depending on the country that may not be possible, and then once again you're screwed. So how can you be a good ally to non-binary people? Well, I have a few ideas. First of all, adopt gender-neutral language as default. This may sound weird, but you can practice on animals. A lot of people either call animals it or he by default. Try calling animals you don't know they, and then extend that to humans. I personally default to they when I first meet anyone, because there's always a chance that my assumption about their pronouns are wrong, and I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. Using gender-neutral ways to address a crowd, such as "Hi everyone," "Hello folks," "Dear students," "Ladies, gentlemen, and others," "Esteemed friends and enemies," "What's up, rat bastards," etc., etc., is also really good. Number 2. Introduce yourself with your pronouns. That signals to other people that you are trans-inclusive, so they'll be much more comfortable. You can also put pronouns in your email signature and social media profiles. Number 3. Correct other people when they mess up names or pronouns. It can get very tiring to correct and educate people all the time on your own behalf, so a little help goes a long way. That said, talk to your trans or non-binary friend beforehand in case they'd rather you didn't do it. You can also offer to educate people on behalf of your friends so that they don't have to, but again, ask before you do that. Number 4. Don't feel offended when you are corrected, or complain about how difficult it is to learn all these new ways of addressing someone. I have truly lost count of the number of times I corrected someone only for the following exchange to happen. Person, and then Shrimi she. Me. It's they, but yes. Person. This is really hard for me, I'm old and not used to this. Please forgive a stupid old person. I'm so sorry, I'm the worst, but I'm really trying, but it's really difficult, so don't judge me if I slip up. You can't hold it against people when I make a mistake. Me. Face of exasperation. Boy. Now, this may be a surprise, but we know that it can be difficult for people to adjust. This happens all the time. Every single day I go out, I get misgendered. Every single time it feels bad, but I'm used to it, and I am aware that most of the time people don't mean it. And I get this exact reaction all the time, and there's just no need for it. There's no need to either get defensive or to profusely apologize for 10 minutes. In fact, that is really uncomfortable. Please stop doing it. If I am correcting you, it means that I trust you with the information that I am non-binary, which means that I assume you're not doing it on purpose. If you're not doing it on purpose, but not correcting yourself, that means that you're doing it without realizing. So I am correcting you in order for you to realize, correct yourself, and then over time, stop doing it. If you want a canned response, it's very simple. Oh, sorry, they. That's it. And lastly, stand up to injustice when you see it. Educate yourself and help amplify the reach of trans and LGBT+ activism. Call out media misinformation when you see it. UK media is particularly hostile to trans people at the moment. Use your platform to help disadvantaged people speak for themselves and amplify their voices. If you want to learn more, check out the Allyship and Privilege talk by Marina Newton in my G7 protest video. Also, when you are choosing who to vote for, consider their stances on LGBT+ rights. You can also come to protest as an ally. I am actually going to Trans Pride in London this Saturday, which isn't a corporate pride, it's a protest for trans liberation, and I have some cis-hetero friends coming with me too. So if you're around, you can come there. Protest rights are very important for all people really, but especially marginalized groups, and they're currently under attack in the UK with the policing bill. So I also encourage you to resist this bill and similar attacks on democracy and free speech. You can watch my video on the bill from the card above, and check out the pinned comment for more information and resources. And I think this is where I'll finish today. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and that it helped you learn more about how to be an ally to non-binary people. A lot of these tips actually help binary trans people and others in the LGBT+ community as well. Check the video description and the pinned comment for notes and further resources. And if you have any questions, comments or thoughts, then leave them in the comments down below. And of course, I'm sure that there were many things that I missed as well, so if you are non-binary and have any additional advice for allies, let me know in the comments to add your voice to the pile. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more art and activism. Thank you so much for watching, this was Shrumi, and I hope you have an amazing rest of Pride Month. Bye bye!
This is really hard for me, I'm all not used to this. Please forgive me, stupid listen. I'm so sorry, I'm the worst, but I'm really trying, but it's really difficult, so don't judge me if I slip up. You can't hold it against people when I make a mistake. This is really hard for me, I'm old and not used to this. Please forgive me, stupid old person. I'm so sorry, I'm the worst, but I'm really trying, but it's really difficult, so please don't judge me if I slip up. You can't hold it against people when I make a... You know what is difficult? This is difficult. Reproducing this is difficult. This is how you'll sound. Just saying.